Hey guys, Joel's here with another reasoning session. Today we're going to be talking about the difference between how Source looks at things and how our ego tends to look at things. Even though we think that we're doing a good job with our ego and we're taking it as high as possible, Source has an even better horizon for us to achieve.
Come now and let us reason together. Come now, we can talk it over.
So the passage comes from Isha Yahu in chapter 55, and I'm going to start at verse 8. It says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, says Yahweh. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." So that itself right there says, the way Source sees things, Source's perspective, and actually what Source has planned is way more than our egos think that we have. Like, we think we want certain things, we think that certain things will help us get to an end goal, but Source knows what it takes to line up all those dominoes, and actually Source even knows what's hiding behind some of those dominoes that we might not know from our egotistic standpoint. But Source can see through all of this and actually line up things in a way where, you're not faced with the hardships that you might encounter should you manifest something that might be what you thought you needed, but a lot of things that line up to get you that might actually end up burning some bridges rather than building them. He goes on to say, "For as the rain comes down and the snow from heaven, and returns not thither, but waters the earth, and makes it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater." So it comes down as inspiration, as rain. It waters the ground, which is our hearts, and then from our heart grow forth the vegetation. Now the vegetation are the actual thoughts of our own. And when we have thoughts of our own, those thoughts produce seeds, which are the actions that we take into the world. Those actions are the seeds that the plant produces. And from those seeds, the circumstances build, and we hone them, we knead them into dough, and we continue to work those events and build on those events until we actually can eat some bread of life experience. "So shall my word be that goes forth out of my mouth," Source is saying. "It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it." So Source isn't playing games when Source is actually decreeing something, when Source is inspiring us with ideas. Source really knows what's going on and intends for that inspiration to return full circle. And it's inevitable. That's what I say. It's inevitable when Source gives you a trajectory. When things start moving, the only thing that inhibits that from actually coming to pass, that prolongs the process, is our own egos getting in the way and trying to manipulate in the physical. Kind of like when Abraham had the promise of, a son being born to him, and God says, I'm going to give you a son. And then Abraham's like, you know what? I'm going to try it my way. Then Abraham goes off and has Ishmael, and God's like, that's not my way. You're still going to get a son. So that just delayed the process and kind of opened the door for a whole bunch of other issues. But Isaac still came. And the way God thinks is that definitive end from the beginning. And that's what we are supposed to do. We're supposed to see it from that end from the beginning. If we have that vision inside of us, we got to know that this will not return void. It will produce a life experience. Going back a bit in chapter 46 and verse 9, he says, "Remember the former things of old, for I am God and there is none else. I am God and there is none like me, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure." This exemplifies perfectly the concept of faith. We see in the definition in Hebrews 11, faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It means that even though it's not a physical reality yet, even though you can't see it in events or around you, you know that that reality is coming to you because it's in your heart. That's the inspiration that Source has planted there. So when Source gives you something, Source already knows that that's a reality. It exists in that quantum logos ocean of possibilities. It's already finished, because in that sea, there's no time from beginning to end. That's what it means, Alpha, Omega. It's all in one. And that word, that information, that data is actually what concretizes into the experiential reality of existence. So when our consciousness is able to embody that state of being, of faith, and we're able to move forward in that state, and we're able to embody that through all the thoughts that we think subsequently, through the decisions we make, and everything that comes from that, because that will compound and build on itself. And the circumstances, the people that concretize around those decisions, the places that we go, all of that adds up and eventually will create the sum of what will bring that reality into existence. That's the way reality works. And that's the kind of faith Source wants you to have, because you are a spark of this divine essence. That breath, like you are created in this physical plane to be creative, because God himself is the creator. And we are here as with the breath of God in us, and that breath is our word. So we got to be very careful with how we talk, because that's the first step before we actually take actions that either match that or don't match that inspiration in us. If we have a great inspiration inside of us, but we're talking and we're saying, I wonder if this is going to come about. I don't know what's going on with the world today. This, oh my goodness, I can't believe they just did that. If we're saying that, even though that inspiration is inside of us, man, that stuff is just going to keep it from happening. We're going to keep ourselves from realizing the true potential that Source actually wants us to, because Source wants the best for us. Source wants the best for all of us. We're not here to suffer. We're here to create heaven on earth. We are that divine spark in order to bring forth mini bubbles of reality that encompass heaven on earth, starting with ourselves, expanding to the people around us in our influence, and from there they can actually be influenced to start and do things. That's what we're here to do. So let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it, and create the world that we know we're deserving of. It's time. We're moving forward. So I'll see you in the next reasoning sesh. Joel signing out once again. Be optimistic and do your part. Your vision's inside of you. Bring it out to the world. Let us all benefit. Agape, Salaam, Namaste, Shalom.